Is Magic the Gathering, the most popular card game in the world, being killed by Hasbro? I am a Magic the Gathering player. I've been playing with a couple of my buddies casually. And I was surprised on CNBC, all of a sudden, this pro article came out stating that Bank of America is saying that Hasbro is killing Magic the Gathering. And I know a lot of the investment community, especially those who collect vintage cards, because believe it or not, you know, people like, I guess, Post Malone, and there was that guy as well. I think Martin Shkreli, remember he bought a whole bunch of the Black Lotuses to preserve his investments. Big money, right? There's a lot of money, especially in the vintage cards in Magic the Gathering. And I would even say, you know, people still spend a lot of money for modern cards. But that article, you know, really had me thinking, and the entire gaming community was talking about it. Bank of America stating that Hasbro is making too many Magic the Gathering card sets per year. They're also downgrading the stock, and they're claiming that this oversupply, you know, of Magic cards is hurting the ecosystem, destroying the long-term value of the brand. And again, folks, Magic the Gathering is Hasbro's billion-dollar brand, right? I think they're only billion-dollar brand, which is crazy. Card prices of Magic are falling, after the company flooded the market with new releases. You know, every couple of months we seem to have a new set that's coming out. Bank of America analysts saying that they've spoken with several players, collectors, distributors, local game stores, and they are aware of the growing frustration. And the concern is that Hasbro is overproducing Magic cards, which, you know, initially propped up Hasbro's results earlier on, right? When they acquired Wizards of the Coast, everyone was saying this is huge. You know, Hasbro Magic makes up to 15% of Hasbro's sales. The game did quite well during the pandemic. I think there's also Warhammer 40K, you know, that company, Games Workshop, their stock did completely crazy during the lockdown times. A lot of people building up their armies and staying at home painting. Magic saw the same thing. And now players are struggling, though, to keep up with the cost of playing the game as new sets keep coming out, leading them to revert to a format that allows them to use older cards. So I won't get too geeky, but, you know, there's different ways to play Magic. There's modern, there's standard, there's Commander, which is like the most popular way of playing the game right now with a bunch of friends. You know, you can have a multiplayer game with 100 cards. You buy these pre-made decks, which, you know, if you haven't played it, I do suggest playing it. It's quite a fun way to play with your friends. And again, you know, now it's about this increased supply, which is crashing secondary market prices. So quite interesting. Sell Hasbro stock. That's what Bank of America is saying. You know, this whole idea of like Hasbro killing the golden goose, which is pretty crazy, because Hasbro now is one of the worst performers off or on the S&P 500 index, which is not something, you know, you would have thought when it came out. Hasbro was buying MTG, and now it's at this point where, you know, they're saturating the market. So a bit, you know, too much can sometimes hurt a product. This is actually the Black Lotus card that I've been talking about. You can see people open, you know, first edition cards of this that are worth a ridiculous amount of money. But just recently, Magic did a fun little, well, I say fun, a lot of people might hate me on that, but this fun little 30th anniversary edition where they printed these cards that were basically not supposed to be printed because they were on a protected list. But then Magic said that, hey, this pack is worth $1,000, so you're paying $999 for 4 15-card packs, and none of these cards can actually be used in you know, in legal games, right? Which got people sort of scratching their heads, saying that this is a big money grab. You know, that's what happens, folks. You know, a lot of people get upset with these companies because when you're in a hobby and you're spending a lot of money, you know, it's not always fun, especially when you see prices just keep on rising and rising. And it sucks because, you know, it gets some people out of the game, right? If the costs are too high. If we look at the stock chart of Hasbro, you know, it's been a very bad year, right? 2022 had the highs basically in January. where we were above $100 per share, and we've just slid consecutive, downtrend after downtrend, and we even have a big sell-off today, breaking previous recent lows. We are now trading at $55.50. Quite the drop for Hasbro. So where do we go next, right? Like, where is the support for Hasbro? You guys sort of know my way of trading. When I see things like this, when I see a big drop, I don't really want to be the guy that's buying the dip right now, because it's akin to throwing a knife in the air and trying to catch it on its way down. I want to see signs of a range, signs of exhaustion. We almost had that here, right? During this period of time when we had a couple of days of range, but that range was not confirmed with a breakout. So it wasn't really a trigger. Instead, all we did was we actually broke down below the range and continued the downtrend, which again is very important. I know a lot of people are sometimes frustrated with my method of waiting for breakouts, but again, folks, this is a business of probabilities, right? We want to align all these confluences to have a successful trade. A range is not an indication to jump into the trade. I would say you wait for that breakout, because that increases the likelihood, which increases the probability of success for your trade. And a range just led to a further downtrend. So as of now, nothing that we can really do with the stock chart. If we look at the longer term time frames, where is that support going to come in? That's what a lot of people are asking for. And I think, that $50 zone, very important psychological number. And it also lines up with what we call a flip zone, an area that has been support and resistance multiple times in the past. If you want to cheat a little bit, you can create a line chart, which I have done here, and you can just connect the dots. And again, folks, these are sort of levels that we are working with, right? So if you want to draw, zones. If you want to draw a zone for the resistance up ahead, it's quite high at that $68, and that's the only level which will see me turn positive for that stock. But it looks like more lows are on the way for Hasbro, and now it's really about what Hasbro is going to do to maybe win back some of the fans. Looks like it's not going to happen in 2023, because they've already sort of set, they've already have a schedule of what sets are going to come out. And it seems like 2023 is going to be also a saturated year for Magic the Gathering, with a lot of products coming out. But it's just one of those things, that I think it's interesting to see. And I always advise people, when they're investing their money, look at things that you deal with on an everyday basis, your hobbies, and maybe things that you see in real life. I think it's really fun, because you get more hooked to the story, you get more hooked into investing, and it's always a good thing to make investing a more enjoyable process. So this is just one of those stories which caught my attention, not because I'm interested in the Hasbro stock per se, but the idea of Bank of America having analysts talking about the world's largest card game in the world. Everyone, assuming that it was a cash cow for Hasbro, which it was, until I guess the company sort of angered fans by making too many products. And I think this whole story of, consumers losing their purchasing power as everything else is rising, they're probably going to be saving money rather than buying, their hobbies and all that kind of stuff. And it sort of sucks when you do have to go to buy your, hobbies or that kind of discretionary spending, prices are higher. So I think you might be seeing this with a lot of other things down the road. And maybe this is just a first little preview of things that are going to come as we head into maybe a possible recession into 2023. But that's it for me, folks. Let me know what you guys think of the Hasbro stock here. Is this something where you would be buying the falling knife here? Again, folks, they do pay quite a hefty dividend as well, as 70 cents per share, but the stock just keeps on sliding, and I am watching that $50 zone. Give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to follow us, and I'll catch you guys all in the next chart attack video.